So with the new generation of combat sports just right around the corner, I am deciding to take a step back into history a little bit. And by looking at some of the things that old combat sports games have done, I have put together 5 questions that I would like to ask the devs. So stick around and let's see if you have some of the same questions that I have. So without any gameplay coming to us yet, of course, there's a lot of questions that we would like to ask the development team. So until we get some gameplay and actually get our hands on the game itself, the only thing that we can do is speculate about some of the things that they tell us. So up first of my 5 questions, my first question is going to be, what will corner management actually be like? So in older games, we've seen many game systems that get you involved in the corners, but with so much new tech coming to us in the form of the new next gen consoles, how involved can I really get in the corner? How will we be able to control cuts, swelling, and ultimately apply that grease to a fighter's face in between rounds? So moving on to question 2, and one that I think is extremely important for any combat sports game that'll come out between now and the end of the life cycle for the next gen consoles is, if I'm knocked down, how the hell am I going to get back up? So we've, of course, like before, we've seen systems where it was like another mini game, but is this going to be something where I'm going to have to align 2 parts of the screen, or will I find myself rapidly tapping the circle or X button in order to get my man to stand back up, in hopes of mimicking some form of intestinal fortitude on the player's part? I think it's going to be interesting to see with developers saying that these games are going to become more realistic, exactly how much realism are you going to be able to capture, and how involved are you going to be able to get the player at the same time? So now moving on to my third question that I'll have for the development team when it comes to these new combat sports games. It's kind of sticking with that theme of realism. My next question would be, exactly how unpredictable can I actually be in the ring? So if any of you out there in YouTube land have ever participated in combat sports, you understand that it's in keeping pressure and winning a fight, it requires a certain level of ambiguity in order to just keep your opponent on the ropes. How ambiguous am I going to be able to be in the ring? Older games, of course, we know that you had jabs that all looked the same, punches that all seemed the same, they all came from the same angle. Footwork was not necessarily the most important thing when you could literally get into the middle of the ring and guard, and the only thing that really happened was the top of your body leaned one direction, leaned backwards, feet never moved. I want to know, can I get in the ring and turn myself into a heavyweight Tyson Fury? Or can I turn myself into a 135-pound Vasily Lomachenko? So my challenge to the devs with that third question is, please allow me to be as artistic as I would like to be in the ring while we fight, regardless of it being UFC or one of the new boxing games that's coming out, which is of course something that I'm really leaning towards and really looking forward to. So how much freedom am I going to have to apply my IQ in the ring? So my next question kind of revolves around physics. What is it going to look like when I hit you with a jab, hook, uppercut, flying knees, roundhouse kicks, and elbows? Am I really going to see or hear a difference in the impact of my punches? Is a jab going to sound the same as a hook? Is a jab going to make the same animation as a hook? Will I be able to knock you out with a jab versus having to throw some form of haymaker or uppercut? Will they do different damage types? How will we be able to understand that these punches are doing different damage? These are mechanics that I think we really have to see, and it's really something that we probably won't get the answer to until we finally get a chance to get some gameplay going. But I think that really is going to make up the fun factor of the game as a whole. When you can realize that you're really dishing out damage, or you get that feel that I just hit him with something hard that could be a real game changer. Those are what create the ebbs and flows of a fight, whether you're on the receiving end or the giving end of that. And I think that is something that they really need to capture, to make sure that people have the combat sports experience that everyone has been looking for. So moving on to my last question, I can't do a top 5 questions without asking about career mode. So we've seen career modes play out in some of the previous combat sports games, and for the most part, I think the general consensus are that the career modes are just really lackluster. What things do we need to see in a career mode? I think that's something that really should be left up to the community. At this point, I think career modes have particularly failed. I think they've tried to live out the whole storied career mode where you have basically I came from nothing and I'm making mom proud by being a pro, and making tons of money. I think that kind of needs to go away. But I do also believe that I think that's something that the development team should reach out to the community and ask community what it is that they want to see in a career mode. So my question is, what would you all want to see in a career mode? Do you like the dramatized career mode, or would you just like to advance a fighter from an amateur world into a pro world and then just try to basically champion all of those ranks? So that's really all I have. Those are my 5 questions. I think they're 5 legitimate questions. They are not my top 5 questions, but they are some that I've thought about. Some of those I got from having conversations with you all in the chat, and which I thank you all for. Every single time that I come onto my channel and I see all of the conversations, I'm actually really enjoying having the conversations with you all in there. I hope some of these developers are seeing some of these conversations we're having, because I think if they're not, they're really missing out on some really good stuff and some really key ideas. So that's what I have. Those are my 5 questions for now. I'm sure I'm going to have 5 more questions here probably in about a week. But let me know what you guys are thinking about the most. What question, if you had a chance to ask the development team, what one question would you ask them? You never know. I may be able to get one of these folks on, and I may pull your question and ask them directly. So if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. And from the Coach's Corner, thank you for watching.